All right, I did give you protocol number one, which stated clearly that the Most High is one. He's not two, he's not three, or anything else. He is one. When he speaks, it is I, I, I. So all you hear is I, singular. All right, there's no we, there's no plural. Okay, he is the one that smote Israel, and he is the one that's going to heal Israel. He is the one that's going to redeem Israel. He is the Savior of Israel. If you're looking for another Savior, i.e., Jesus Christ, you keep looking because no prophets made mention of him. And the Most High gives his glory to another, that's a no no. But you have to understand his protocols, know who he is, know his behavioral patterns, and you will know clearly where these idols are. You can identify them. Okay? So there is no Savior but the Most High himself. His son is not coming back. His son is already here. His son is the nation of Israel. So says him out of his mouth. And you have to understand that. And if you let anyone else tell you otherwise, you're a fool and you're rejecting the knowledge of the Most High. You are to know him. That's your job. Because when you know him, when someone else tries to say he said this and he said that, nah, he didn't say that. Because I know him and I know his protocol. That don't match. Go away. So you can shut them down with that foolishness the minute they open up their mouth. And they will run far away from you because they know they can't touch you when you know this book. When you know the Most High, they can't come to you with the foolishness. All right, now let's go. One God, Most High is one, the Almighty, powerful being. Let's go to a book of Isaiah because we're going to go in the book of Isaiah. That's a real meaty book when you start touching that thing. Uh, let's look at Isaiah 2. Let's deal with verse 11. It says here, 1 second. The lofty looks of man shall be humbled, and the haughtiness of men shall be bowed down. And the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day. The Lord alone. You need to look up the word alone and tell me what you get out of that. Tell me if you get a us, or a we, or a two, or a three, or a trinity. You simply don't. All right? Now, these are truths that you need to kind of take heed to and stop rejecting knowledge. Because that's what you're doing. You're going on what you heard and what you were told and what you believe. What you heard, what you were told, what you believe, and what you do, chances are doesn't line up with what this book says. So you need to get to studying. Okay? Now, let's see here. Let's go down to verse 17. Still in the book of Isaiah, verse 2. All right. And the loftiness of man shall be bowed down, and the hardness of men shall be made low, and the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day. Now, he didn't say the same thing twice. Why? For effect. So you understand clearly it's not a slip of the tongue, and there are no changes. He's adamant about this. He is redundant about this, and you need to take heed. And I'm just going to give you a few chapters or a few verses that you can look up. But he's like this throughout the book. He doesn't change. Remember, I told you that he does not change. He said he doesn't change. He doesn't change. He doesn't lie. So you need to take heed and follow his protocol and stop going along with foolishness. Now, let's also go to the book of Isaiah. Let's go to chapter 60, verse 16. And I'll read that. 60, Isaiah chapter 60 and verse 16. And it reads, let's go. Thou shalt also suck the milk of the Gentiles, and shalt suck the breast of kings, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord. No, excuse me. Thou shalt know that I, the Lord, am thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. Now, if you're reading your book and you have any kind of understanding, you know Jacob and Israel is synonymous. It's the same thing. It's the house of Israel. So let's keep this in mind. Here, I'm going to reread that for clarity. Okay? We're in Isaiah chapter 60, verse 16. Thou shalt also suck the milk of the Gentiles, and shall suck the breast of kings, and thou shalt know that I, the Lord, am thy Savior and thy Redeemer. So if you're looking for any other Savior other than the Most High Himself, if you're looking for another Redeemer other than the Most High Himself, you keep looking because you won't find it. He will not give His glory to another. No one is like Him. No one is close to Him. No one is compared to Him. So you need to look at this idol that you worship so much and start making a decision. You have to discern who's serving the Most High and who is not. Okay, so you need to get a clear understanding of that. He clearly is the Savior and the Redeemer. If you're looking for another Savior and another Redeemer, you keep looking, you will not find it. Okay? Because keep in mind, He does not lie, He does not change. So He's not going to say, well, I'm your only Redeemer, and all of a sudden He didn't change it. I'm going to get this guy, and he's going to come and redeem you. No, it's not going to go like that. It's not His protocol. Okay? So now, let's jump to Isaiah 52 in verse 9. Like I said, we're going to stay in Isaiah. You can find this in other places, but we're going to stick with Isaiah. 52 verse 9. And that reads, break forth into joy, singing together, ye waste places of Jerusalem. For the Lord has comforted His people. Say nothing about Him comforting the whole world. All right? His people who are Israelites, not Christians. Let's make this clear. He hath redeemed Jerusalem. So why is He going to redeem it this time, but the next time He can just, I don't feel like going, I'm going to send somebody else. Especially when He told us He redeemed us in the past, and He's going to redeem us again. He never said He's going to send somebody to redeem us. He is going to redeem us. It's He, I, the whole way through. So you're looking for another Savior or another Redeemer, you keep looking. Your eyes are going to bug out. Okay? Now, let's also go to Isaiah 49 and 26. We're going to go through Isaiah a little bit, get you familiar with this book. There's a whole lot of good stuff in this book. So other places you can find this too, but we're going to stick with Isaiah. I did say go to 49 and 26. Let's read that. Isaiah 49 verse 26. And I will feed them that oppress thee with their own flesh. Okay. Before we continue, let's understand a few things. To the Israelites that are abroad and everywhere else, that have seen the suffering, have heard their parents speak of it, have heard their grandparents speak of it, and their grandparents, their parents spoke of it because they've experienced it, and we continue to experience it to this day. Why? We are the Israelites, and two, we are the witnesses. What does a witness do? A witness sees. But not only do we see, we feel, because we take the beating. Okay? So if you're not taking that beating, if it's not you getting beat down in the street, you see someone who looks like you getting beat down in the street or shot up in the street. Okay? So you're a witness by means of visual, and you're a witness by means of experience. It's you that's filled up in the prison houses, you understand? So we are witnesses to all these things in the generation before us, and it can change, and it will change. So says the Most High, and we are to hang on His word, not what other folks are saying. Now let's deal with, once again, Isaiah 49:26. I will feed them that oppress thee with their own flesh. So you know who oppress you, so you know what their fate is. And they shall be drunk with their own blood, as with sweet wine. And all flesh shall know that I, the Lord, am thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. He didn't say the mighty two of Jacob. He didn't say the mighty three of Jacob. Okay? He said I. That's singular in most places. Show me where the word I represents two people. Show me where the word I represents three people. It does not. So anything other than Him alone is a figment of your vain imaginations. And we're going to knock them imaginations right out the box. Okay? We're going to knock them down. All right. He says clearly in the latter part of this verse, he said, I, the Lord, am thy Savior. Now, he's talking to Israel. He's not talking to the whole world. This book is addressed to Israelites. Let's make that clear. This is not an everybody book. Okay? And thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. So you need to go look back and see who the mighty one of Jacob is. And then you know clearly who he is. Look at the protocol of the mighty one of Jacob. Look at his protocol. He's one. He tells you clearly from the jump. All right. He tells you, gives you the end and the beginning. He is up front. He is one. He is not two. He is not three. And he's not sending anybody to redeem you. So if you wait on somebody to come and redeem you, his son to come and redeem you, you have not read this book. All right. His son is here. And if you're an Israelite, you're his son. And he's going to come and get you. Just like he got you out of Egypt. He got us out of Egypt, didn't he? But when he got us, what happened? Some folks got killed, a bunch of them. He killed them. So, for you to be redeemed, some folks going to die. And I mean a bunch of them. All right? So, you keep in mind that that's who's coming to get you. Ain't no son coming to get you because you're the son. So, you need to understand that clearly. He says that clearly. Israel is his son. And you can't go through this book and find anything that contradicts that. And if it does not have his stamp of approval. It has nothing to do with him. Because he doesn't lie, he doesn't change. These are very simple protocols to follow, and it's easy to understand. Okay? Now, let's go now to Isaiah 33 and verse 22. All right. Once again, Isaiah 33, verse 22. For the Lord is our judge. Let me say that again. For the Lord is our judge. Is he? Sure he is. When we go before judgment, that's who we're going to be seeing. Him. Why? Because it's his law. So that's who's going to pass and render the judgment upon us when we break it. Okay? The Lord is our lawgiver. Of course he is. He gave the laws to Moses to give to us. He gave the laws initially. It's his laws. It's his stuff. Okay? The Lord is our king. The king is the most high. I don't know why y'all got this king being somebody else. Jesus is the king. Really? You can't be serious. He will save us. Let's make this clear. Let me read that again because folks are hard of hearing and they reject this knowledge. This is to know. Okay? It's knowledge right here. Not what you heard. Not what great grandma told you. Not what you believe. What is written? What is written? So let's deal with what's written once again. We're in the book of Isaiah, verse 33, and we are on verse 22. For the Lord is our judge, the Lord is our lawgiver, the Lord is our king. He will save us. He's not sending anybody to save us. He will do it. He is singular. There's no two he's. All right? It doesn't exist. If it does, you need to point it out to me. All right? So now let's go down to Isaiah 47 and 4. Said we're going to stay in the book of Isaiah. Like I said, some of you other brothers out there, y'all know you can go in other parts of the book and see the same thing over and over. It's redundant. But I'm going to touch with it here because it's clear. Most High is clear. It's not a bunch of riddles and ramblings. He is clear. All right, so you will be able to identify him through his protocols, and you know what is of him and what is not of him. It's not hard to figure out. Let's deal with Isaiah. We're going to go to 47. Let's go to Isaiah 47. We'll come back to 46 in a minute. Isaiah 47, verse 4. As for our Redeemer, once again, who's speaking? The nation of Israel. This book is not an everybody book. You're going to have to get that understanding. This book does not apply to everybody. This book is written, by Israelites, for Israelites. So we can have something to, when we're being brought to remembrance, we have something to study, revert to, know who we are, know what we have to do to get out of this circumstance that we're in. This was written for us in the future. That's what this book is. This book does not pertain to everyone. And if you read it clearly, you will know he's addressing Israel. What they have to do, he's telling them what they're going to go through and what the end is going to be for not only them, they will be restored, and all these other nations that just kicked Israel in the teeth and had their foot on their necks, they're going to be in a reverse position. It's going to be a reversal of roles. And if you read this, you will clearly understand. Israel has been afflicted for one thing. It's a purge. It's a rites of passage, if you will. You don't get a bunch of good stuff unless you had to go through some stuff to get it. And we're going through it right now. Okay, so understand that this whole thing that we're in, it's temporary. Let that be your saving grace, if you will. Let that be your hope. That's what the book is for. Okay, it's so we can read this book and realize, wow, this is why we're in this captivity. This is why we get a beat down worldwide. Okay, how do we get out? Deuteronomy 30 tells you how to get out. You have to return back to these laws. Not only us, our kids. Okay, so a man will have to take control of his household. So these things are going to be important for us. All right. So let's get back to where we were. Once again, I said we were Isaiah 47, verse 4. As for our Redeemer, the Lord of hosts is his name, the Holy One of Israel. So the Redeemer of Israel is the Holy One of Israel. And that's the Most High himself. So any other Redeemer, any other Savior that you know about that's other than the Most High himself, you're in error. You're in error because he doesn't say that anywhere. Okay? And once again, he doesn't lie. He gives us the ending in the beginning. He's up front and he doesn't change. So if he says that he's the Redeemer and the Savior of Israel, that's good as gold. It doesn't change down the line. Oh, I'm going to send my son. Really? Then if he's going to send his son, he's going to tell you he's going to send his son. He's going to tell you his son's name too. And so therefore he did neither one of those things. He told you who his son is. He took his son out of Egypt because his son was in captivity. His son is Israel. He said that clearly. That don't change. Period. All right, now let's go to Isaiah 43. Because in 43, I mean, it gets just, like I said, the Most High, he's redundant. So you're not confused. You won't think anything he's saying is an error. It is straight up front in your face. Okay? Now, and once again, he's speaking of Israel here. He's not talking to anyone else. All right, let's go. Let's go with verse 10. Ye are my witnesses. Who are the ye? Israel. Ye are my witnesses, saith the Lord, and my servant. The servant of the Most High is the children of Israel, is the nation of Israel, whom I have chosen. Yes, we were chosen. We were picked. Okay? That ye may know and believe me. Did he say that ye will believe me, that ye may have faith in me? No. He said that you may know. Okay, if you're going to know him, you have to have knowledge of him. Know is the short word for knowledge. Because once you know, I can easily believe. I can easily believe if I know. You understand? So he said, hey, look, he said clearly, you are my servant whom I have chosen that ye may know and believe. So once you gain knowledge of him, you know good and well what's going on. Because it's easy to believe once you know. And understand that I am he. Excuse me. It didn't say anywhere on there that this is us, or that you will understand that it is us. It says, I, singular, am he. That's clear to understand. Before me. Doesn't say before us. there was no God formed, neither shall there be after me. Okay, so we know good and well that the Most High has been here for a minute. From the beginning of time, he is the Ancient of Days. So now, he said there's none before him, and there's none after him. So if you think there's some other God or someone equal to God after him, you ain't read this. And if you did read it, you didn't understand this. And if you didn't understand it, therefore you can't believe it. You understand me? So this is where the knowledge has to come in. Once you gain this knowledge, you look around and you bear witness, it's easy to believe because you can see it, you're experiencing it, you're knowledgeable of it. So let me reread that again. Ye are my witnesses, Israel, saith the Lord, and my servant, Israel, and whom I have chosen, Israel, that ye may know and believe me. Didn't say anything but you may know and believe us. That would be that Trinity foolishness that you follow. He said me. Me is singular. And understand that I am he. I. He didn't say us. He didn't say us or we or any foolishness like this is the foolishness. You have to get out of this foolishness. How do you go by this nonsense? I really anyway, let's continue. And understand that I'm he. Before me there was no God formed, neither shall there be after me. So he's already formed because he's talking. Are we clear? He said there's none before me. He's able to say that because he's already existed. And there's none after him. So where do you get these other deities from? These other saviors from? These other redeemers from? He said he is one. There was none before him, there's none after him. That means he's still one. How hard is that to figure out? But then he reiterates in verse 11. I, once again singular. Yes, I'm yelling because you need to be woken up. That's why we're slapping you with this book. We're going to slap you with this word till you get some sense. I have declared and have saved, which means he has shown you this stuff and he has saved you. He did not save us in Egypt. Yes, he sure did. All right. Let me get back to that. I have declared and I have saved. I have shown when there was no strange God among you. Therefore, ye are my witnesses, saith the Lord, that I am God. So before you got all this strange doctrine, before you got this Jesus and all these other deities that you serve in all these different lands, there was no strange God among you. We didn't have any. And so therefore, he's going to be the witness that he is God. He said, I am God. That's one. He didn't say we are gods or we are God. He didn't say that. So the Trinity that you believe in is absolute nonsense. It is foolishness, and we're going to knock down your vain imaginations. And you've got two choices. You can hear it or you can forbear it. Choice is yours, but you better do some study. Now, let's jump down to verse 13. Yea, before the day was, I am he. Before the day was, I am he. I mean, before creation, he was. And there is none that can deliver out of my hand. So, let me read that again. Yea, before the day was, I am he. And there is none that can deliver out of my hand. I will work, and who shall let it? Okay. So, you find out you're the house of Israel, you're Israelites. You find out that your forefathers broke the covenants. And we continue to break the covenants to this day. We have not returned to the Most High, hence we are still in captivity. We still wearing other people's names who have oppressed us, and we're still oppressed to this day in all these lands on the earth. But let's look clearly to what's being said here. The Most High said, There is none that can deliver out of my hand. Okay. I don't know if you know what the word none means, but that's not N-U-N as in the chick with the skirt in the Catholic churches. No, we're not talking about that. That's idolatry and foolishness too. We're talking about none as in nobody. So you can't expect another Savior to deliver you out of this mess. The Most High said He is one, and no one is going to deliver you out of His hand but Him. So if anyone tells you someone else is going to come and redeem you, or someone else is going to come save you out of the hands of the Most High, you are foolish. You have not read and you have not understood this book. It's real clear. No one is going to save you out of His hand. Most High got you. Can't nobody come save you. Ain't no Jesus coming to save you out of the hands of the Most High. It ain't happening. It is not happening. The only person saving Israel is the Most High. Period. There's no other Savior coming to save you. There is none. There ain't no other Savior but the Most High. You're going to have to understand this. Now, let's reread that. Let's reread 11. Let's start at 11. Once again, Isaiah 43, verse 11. Even I am the Lord, and besides me there is no Savior. You're looking for another Savior? You're mistaken. I have declared and have saved. I have shown when there was no strange God among you. Therefore ye are my witnesses, saith the Lord, that I am God. Once again, he's speaking of his singularity. Verse 13, yea, before the day was, I am he. Meaning before everything was created, he was. And there's none that can deliver out of my hand. Meaning ain't no Jesus coming to get you. Most High himself is coming to get you. Okay? I will work, and who shall let it? Yeah, he's going to work. Okay? And no one's going to stop this thing. Thus saith the Lord, your Redeemer. Once again, he's speaking to Israel. Okay, so your Redeemer is the Most High himself. And the Most High says he's one. So if you look him to kind of split himself and go through some kind of, what do you call it, mutation, you are absolutely crazy. You understand? Now, we're at verse 14, Isaiah 43. Thus saith the Lord, your Redeemer, the Holy One. Not the Holy Two, not the Holy Three, not the Trinity. This is foolishness. It's idolatry. Okay? Once again, the Holy One of Israel. For your sake, I, singular, have sent to Babylon, and have brought down all their nobles, and the Chaldeans whose cries in the ships. I, not we, we're at verse 15, I am the Lord, your Holy One, not your Holy Two, the Creator of Israel, your King. So your King is the Most High. Your Redeemer is the Most High. Your Savior is the Most High. No one else. Can't no one deliver you out of his hand. So why you think somebody else is coming to save you? I don't get that. I don't know where you're getting that from. Because if the Most High did not show it to you in the beginning, it don't line up. So when you look at the back of the book and you see all this foolishness in the book of confusion, which is known as the New Testament, you will see clearly that all that stuff goes against the protocols of the Most High. However, a lie is best told when you put some truth in it. So what these clever individuals have done, they have borrowed some verses from the Old Testament and mixed it in there with a quote-unquote New Testament. There don't need to be no New Testament. The prophets in the house of Israel have already bear testament to everything that the Most High wanted them to. That's why it's written in these books. That's why it's on these tablets. Okay, so all this other foolishness you follow, this Paul and his nonsense. I mean, Paul is full of nonsense. You have to understand that. A bunch of lies in there. He's not an apostle. He's nothing. Okay, Paul's a bum. Let me go ahead and say it up front. Okay, so you look at all this foolishness in the back of the book, and you realize, okay, this does not line up with his protocol, because he told us what the end was in the beginning, and this end don't match his beginning, so we know it has absolutely nothing to do with the Most High. It's clever. It's clever. However, the Most High will put the Spirit upon us for us to discern who serves him and who does not. And we're going to know this. Not only do these heathens not know him, not only do these heathens not serve him, we have those of the house of Israel that will not serve him. And we have to be able to identify those people as well. All right, now let's deal with let's go to 1 second. Let's go to verse 21. Same chapter 43 in Isaiah, verse 21. This people have I formed for myself. Okay? I, myself, singular. They shall show forth my praise. Yeah, because we are going to be the glory of the Most High. Yeah, I know you're down in the dumps right now. You can't figure it out why your son's getting shot in the street, why your daughter's pregnant at 15 years old, and all the other mess, and everyone's drugged out around you, and you're getting shot. You're just being persecuted. The sword is after you. The sword is after us. And we have to understand who we are. We have to understand who the Most High is, and we have to return to his laws. And all this stuff will come to a halt. All right? As a matter of fact, it's going to get to the point to where we're going to be stripped. All right? And you're going to have no choice. We've been calling on Jesus for a minute. You ever wonder why ain't nothing happened yet? You need to consider that. All right. Now, Most High said we return back to his laws, he's going to change everything. I'm going to read that for you in a minute. But anyway, let's go to verse 22. Let me reread 21. Isaiah 43, verse 21. This people have I formed for myself. They shall show forth my praise, his glory. That's what Israel is going to do. Okay. But thou hast not called upon me, O Jacob, but thou hast been weary of me, O Israel. So the words of the Most High, Israel really don't want to hear it. Man, I'm tired of hearing that stuff. Man, I don't want to hear it. Da, 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 da. That's our temperament. Okay? We're weary of him. We don't call upon him. We call him on other deities. And then we wonder why we're still in the same predicament we're in. It's crazy. We don't want to hear this word. We hate it. And let's go ahead and touch on that. Isaiah 30, verse 8. Since we're in the book of Isaiah, we hate this thing. Well, some of us do. Why would you hate the word of the Most High? You know why? You have to be wicked to do so. It's really that simple. So when you don't want to hear it, that's nothing but an indication of your wickedness. Isaiah 30, verse 8. Now go, write it before them in a table. That's pretty much a book. And note it in a book, that it may be for the time to come forever and ever. So all these text is written for Israel to know in the future. It's for us to have reference to. Okay? Because remember, our heritage was removed, our names, our languages, etc. Have you ever wondered why black people are the only people on the planet running around speaking another language, wearing another man's name, and have no idea where they're from? Secondly, you have to keep in consideration that if I stopped you in the grocery store and asked you what's in your cart, there's no way there's going to be some stuff in your cart that you didn't know about because you went to the grocery store with a list. You know exactly what's in the cart. All right. And these are just items. So just imagine that a man would have the gall to say, well, we don't know where you're from, or you from Africa. Yeah, we got y'all from Africa. Africa's a very, 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 very big place. Okay? It's a vast landmass. So it's either A, we got you from Africa, or B, we don't know where we got you from. Just think. All right? How could you trade in human beings for over half a century? You don't know who these people are. You don't know what language they spoke. You don't know where they're from. Really? You all need to consider that. Anyway, let's get to this hate for the word of the Most High. And these are Israelites that hate this thing. Once again, verse 8, chapter 30, Isaiah. Now go, write it before them in a table, and note it in a book, that it may be for the time to come forever and ever. Verse 9, that this is a rebellious people, lying children, children that will not hear the law of the Lord. Most High have laws. He has statutes, he has commandments, he has protocols. You don't follow them, You get dealt with. It's really that simple. Hence our condition. All right. So he says here, we're a bunch of lies. I know this to be true. Okay. And you do too. All right. We will not hear the law. You don't hear the law, you're going to get your head busted. If these other nations don't hear the law, nothing happens to them. Why? Because they weren't given the law. It's really that simple. Okay? So when you're told, let's say you have a sibling, all right? Two brothers living in a household. They asked to go to a dance. The dad tell one of them, hey, be in here at 11. But, your dad works night shift, let's say. And he had to go to work a little early that day, so he didn't get a chance to talk to the other sibling. And the other sibling came in at 12. Well, ain't too much going to happen to that sibling that came in at 12. But to that one that he chose specifically being at 11, he better be in at 11 because he got the law specifically for that occasion. All right. So the thing is that these other nations were not given any laws. They don't have any. A matter of fact, they are lawless. Lack of law equals lawlessness. Keep that in mind. However, Israel was given the law. So therefore, when we transgress it, we are the ones that are punished. Now, let's go to verse 10. Which say to the seers, see not, and to the prophets, prophesy not, unto us right things, speak unto us smooth things, prophesy deceit. So in other words, what you people are saying, black folks right now, they don't want to hear this law. They want to hear we're all the same, we're all equal, and all the other foolishness has been put in our heads that we believe that's not written in this book. It's not written in here. We're not all the same. We're not all equal. That's a lie. Not if you believe in this book, not if you follow the protocols of the Most High. Okay? So the prophets and our pastors out there lying to you, preaching on some straight madness, but since you don't know the book, you can't contend with him. You have no idea. So you can't argue with him. You can't present any evidence contrary to what he's saying because you don't know the book at all. And you simply trust in the fact that he does, leading you straight off a cliff, and you don't know it. Okay? Before I get to this, let me put a little quick something in here. Look, before I really started studying this book, praying, fasting, and doing all these different things in accordance with the Most High's protocols, I used to see some older brothers, sit down and pray over their food. They come in because we used to work on Sundays back in the day, and I'd sit down and listen to the brothers talk about what a good sermon it was at church that Sunday, that sort of thing. I was not a church goer, and so I believe, but I didn't know if all that stuff was what it was supposed to be. So you won't find me in a church, but I listened to them talk, and I had respect for them and their faith. And so when I started studying, I figured, you know what, man, with all this knowledge I got, me and these brothers gonna have some good conversations, because these brothers are believers in the word, blah 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 blah. Let me tell you something. These very individuals that I felt, these are grown men now, that knew this word, don't know anything. I mean, they don't know anything. All they can tell you about, I believe it, well, I believe that. They have no knowledge. It's the most amazing thing to me. And they hate to see me coming. They hate it. Because they know this joker been reading the book. He been studying the book. And I ask them things they don't know. Things they can't understand. Simple things like, hey, there are 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. Give me half of them. Name half of them. I couldn't find one of them that could give me three. Israel was split into two kingdoms. What were those kingdoms called? Just little simple things that if you're studying this book, you know. They don't know anything pertaining to this book. Anything. Let me go ahead. I need to power up. Give me 1 second. So what I find as you start to share knowledge with them and sit down and discuss the word, they don't want to hear this thing at all. What if I'm a New Testament Christian and this, that? You can't go in this book and find nowhere where the Most High's people, the chosen people of the Most High are called Christians. It doesn't even exist. They're Israelites. They won't even acknowledge that. They just reject knowledge altogether. And so when they see brothers that know this book, they run the other way because what they believe in is idolatry and is foolishness. The Most High said no one is going to come against us once we get into this book and He start revealing what He needs to reveal to us. And I know that to be a fact because they run the other way quick in a hurry because a lot of the nonsense that they're speaking, they keep falling over swords left and right when they come up with this foolishness. It's idolatry. All right, now let's get back to what we were, but I wanted to share that with you. Once you start getting into this book, when you start going up against them, man, they run. And you'll laugh too because you realize the Most High is right. They have no knowledge, none. I believe and I believe, and that's all they have is I believe this, I believe that. Will show it to me. Go in the book and show it to me. Matter of fact, they believe in some stuff that they have never read, and they couldn't point out in the book where to go find it because they really don't read the book. Secondly, they don't understand the book. You can't understand the Most High if you're in idolatry. It ain't gonna happen. All right. Now let's go ahead and kick this thing off. Back to Isaiah 30, where we were, where the prophets, Israel is telling the prophets, speak unto us smooth things. We need you to lie to us. Don't tell us the truth. We don't want to hear that word. Okay. Verse 11. Get ye out of the way. Turn aside out of the path. Cause the Holy One of Israel to cease from before us. Okay. The Holy One of Israel once again. Wherefore, thus saith the Holy One of Israel. Most High speaking, take heed. This is verse 12, Isaiah 30. Wherefore, thus saith the Holy One of Israel, because ye despise this word and trust in oppression and perverseness and stay thereon. So, you hate the word of the Most High. You hate it. I didn't say that. Most High just said it. And you trust in oppression. All the ways of those who have oppressed you, that is your first resort when you seek to do something. I find that amazing. Look at all the quote unquote black think tanks. You have your Tavis Smiley, your Cornell West, all these ministers and preachers and whomever. Apparently, people who hold leadership roles, men and women, in the quote unquote black community, and they may discuss some of the very issues that face us, i.e., the plights, our perils, our troubles. These are all curses, but they don't even see that. Let me see some of the solutions to our problems. Oh, we need higher education. We need better health care. We need more parents in the home. We need more black men present. Uh, we need more drug awareness programs so people are not on drugs, alcohol prevention, and things like that. Uh, our daughters are getting pregnant every day at 15 and 16 years old. So we need sexual education and we need condoms to kind of stop them from getting pregnant, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, you have all kind of you having problems with your marriage, you need to seek a counselor. Uh, what else is some of the foolishness that you hear when they start to talk as far as how to deal with the black issue? Uh, or we need to carry ourselves in a better manner. That way we're not stereotyped uh, and we're not marginalized and things like that. Look, if all black people got on the field butt naked and just stood still and didn't move, our enemies will kill us. Do you understand that? You have to understand that the sword is after this. It's after the house of Israel. It's after us for our idolatry, for our wickedness. So what we continue to do, we continue to seek counsel, but not of the Most High. So we want to go to therapy, or we need to have better education. And these are the kind of foolish, or we need to dress a certain way, that way people don't think that we're going to rob them and all these other things. and how all the problems that we've got we bring upon ourselves and all et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they have all sorts of solutions. None of these solutions that these people will ever put forth involves the fact that, hey, look, all of our problems can be solved if we return to the laws of the Most High. Just think of it. Think of all the things that plagues us. Infant mortality rate, teenage pregnancy, father absenteeism as far as fathers in the house, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, uh, heart condition, heart disease, different versions of diseases. All of the things that plagues us. Hatred for our brother, hatred for our women, in some cases hatred towards our own children. All the things that plagues us are the plagues listed in Deuteronomy 28. Simple. It's simple. And Deuteronomy 30 tells us how to get out of these things. So it's amazing that we are so asleep. We are so far removed from the Most High that we seek counsel, but none of the counsel we seek are of Him. So all the plagues that we're going through, we can have them undone, but we're going to have to go to Him to get it done. Not therapy, not give our kids condoms so they can stop having babies. How about teaching them the law to where, you're married first? How about teaching them the ways of the Most High? That way they fear Him. Because if you fear the Most High, you're going to follow His laws. All right? So that's what you have to understand. Is fear. You have to fear Him, because if you're afraid of what the outcome is going to be, you're going to do exactly what He says. Think of when you were younger and your dad told you to do something. You didn't do it because I love and I admire him. It wasn't that. You did it out of fear. If I don't do this thing, I'm going to get my head busted. So I got to go ahead and get this thing done. I got to clean this house because I know when he comes home, if this isn't clean or this isn't where it's supposed to be, there's going to be repercussions. There's going to be some punishments, and I'm not trying to get that punishment. Okay, so it's really that simple. It is the fear of the Most High will cause you to do what you're supposed to do. And through that fear, you gain that understanding. You gain that wisdom because you know exactly who He is, and what He will do, and what He have done, and what He can do. It all goes hand in hand. So what we need to start doing is stop having all these black think tanks trying to solve our problems using the very methods of those who have oppressed us. We're trying to use His thinking and His methods to solve our issues. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It is just as stupid as the Most High kicked us out of the land and scattered us amongst these nations as a punishment. That's what it is. So the man that's kicking you in the face, he is on the orders. His job is to give you hell while you're here in all these lands. He is the enforcer of your punishment. Simple as that. So crying to him won't do you any good. Crying to him is the akin of sitting in the electric chair and begging the guy that's about to hit the switch for mercy. That's pretty much what it akins to, because the guy that's about to hit that switch, he has nothing to do with it. He can't help you. Your crime was done long before you got there to look at him. You can't plead your case with that man. That man is just going to carry out your judgment. That's it. He don't know you, don't care to know you. You understand? So why would you want to try to turn to the very methods of those who have afflicted you to find the solutions to your problems? Makes absolutely no sense. So we need to return back to the source. What got us here? How can we get out? Deuteronomy 30 tells us exactly how to get out. All right, so stop turning to therapists and daggone all this other foolish methods that our quote unquote leaders who are leading us and causing us to err with all this other foolish, it's just foolishness is what it is. Trying to solve our problems using the people who have actually enslaved us, use their method. Yeah, let's see how that works. So we get put in these lands that are foreign to us, speaking languages that are foreign to us, and somehow you expect the laws of these lands to suit you. Really? Do you expect these laws to favor you at all? You're here as a punishment. If you couldn't obey the laws of the Most High, and He's going to deliver you to your enemies, what makes you think that your enemies' laws are going to have anything that pertains to you? And that's why you can't get a fair shake. But you haven't figured that out yet. But you will. Some of you will. Some of you will not. You will continue to seek ways of solving your problems using another man's methods. It doesn't work. And it will never work. Okay? And you are living proof of this. So, instead of all these big think tanks and all of that, I got one thing for you all that think you so smart and you're educated, and black people have their own problems, and then they need to get more educated and all that foolishness. I only got a short advice for you. You want to solve your problems, black folks? You want to get out from the bottom, black folks? Tired of having the foot on your neck? Return to the laws of the Most High. Go through this book of remembrance, study it, gain an understanding of it. Put down all these nasty foods that you put in your mouth. Start learning how to fast, learning how to return to the Most High, you and your household, and things will change. I promise you things will change. As a matter of fact, we have no choice in the matter at this point, because apparently some of us have forgotten exactly who has done these things to us. And you will get a swift reminder who has done it, because they'll do it again. So it's time to wake up. Stop being so rebellious. Stop despising this word, and stop trusting in oppression and perverseness and expecting a different result. Start trusting in the Most High and follow His ways. It's really that simple. Now, we've covered some of the things pertaining to the Most High. We've covered Isaiah 43. Let me go ahead and see if we've covered that at all. Look at this. Of course, we've got we've gone through Isaiah 43. Let's look at Isaiah 44. Let's look at Isaiah 44, verse 6 and verse 8. Once again, this is going to speak on the oneness of the Most High. For those of you thinking the Most High is three people, which is pure foolishness. Let's deal with Isaiah 44, verse 6. Thus saith the Lord, the King of Israel. So the King of Israel is the Most High Himself. Let's get this clear. Excuse me. And His Redeemer, the Lord of hosts. I am the first, I am the last, and besides me there is no God. I think we've read this before, but it needs to be reiterated. All right. Verse 7. And who as I shall call and shall declare it and set it in order for me, since I appointed the ancient people, and the things that are coming and shall come, let them shew unto them. Fear not, this is verse 8. Fear ye not, neither be afraid. Have not I told thee from that time, and have declared it? Once again, He declares the end from the beginning. Ye are even my witnesses. Is there a God besides me? So the Most High is asking you a question. Is there a God besides me? And if you're stupid, you're going to say, yeah, Jesus. That's if you're stupid. But if you know this book, you know better. Yea, there is no God. I know not any. So therefore, you've got to ask yourself a few things. If there's another God besides the Most High, and He says He don't know Him, and He formed this earth, including He made you, and you're saying there's another God besides Him, then I give you credit for knowing something that the Most High Himself said He doesn't know. So you're standing alone on that one. All right. So he don't know any other God. He said clearly there's none like him. Okay. He says clearly he is the redeemer of Israel. He says clearly his son is Israel. So if you know of another son and another redeemer, then you know something that the Most High clearly says he does not know. That puts you in a category all by yourself. Makes you a bad man. Either that or it makes you a dumb man. One of the two. So watch your hard-headedness, Israel. It's going to cost.